The best of the Morning X with Barnes, Leslie, and Jimmy. 99X.
I got a couple of emails in. Firstly, a couple people wrote in regarding Scott Baio. Why were we talking about him again?
Celebrity Sleaze. I said he had a TV show coming back.
Yeah, you mentioned you were a stand-in for Scott.
And I remember I had mentioned also that Scott Baio, he has been hooked up with some of like the biggest
Bims.
the biggest bims, clearly, but also some hot babes. I mean, this guy is like a magnet.
Yeah.
And Michael Yagi wanted to remind me that he has been engaged to Pamela Anderson.
That's right.
And he met her because he was dating Nicole Eggert.
Which one is she?
She starred with him on Charles in Charge and then went to Baywatch.
Yeah. Is that little girl?
I'm not sure which.
She was the daughter on Charles in Charge?
She's on
No. That was no. It's somebody else. It was what? She played. I think she played his love interest on the show.
Okay. Phone Boy to the rescue.
Phone Boy, of course.
She was the girl,
I
right?
thought that was Alyssa Milano.
Alyssa Milano was on something else.
What?
That was Who's the Boss.
That's
Tony
the same,
Danza.
Wait, isn't that the same show?
That's Tony Danza.
Isn't Who's the Boss and Charles?
So he went through the whole Baywatch cast, huh?
Not only that, one on Mr. Barnes' top 5 in the form of Yasmine Bleeth.
She's no longer in the top 5.
Okay, well, he was with Yasmine Bleeth.
Especially now that
I
I found out that Scott Baio's been there.
In fact, they used to call his friends used to call Baywatch Baio Watch because he'd been with half the cast.
Baio Watch,
with
I
the
like
exception
that.
of David Hasselhoff. Now, Andy George has added to the Scott Baio mix that the first episode of Joni Loves Chachi was the highest-rated American program in the history of Korean television. Now, you're saying, well, why? Now, and I want verification. If we have any Koreans listening, okay.
Who have the Nielsen ratings nearby.
Who over the course of the years I have not offended to the point of them not listening anymore. He says that the reason Joni Loves Chachi was the highest-rated American program in the history of Korean television is because in Korean, Chachi means penis.
Joni
Are you serious?
Chachi.
That the Korean word for penis is chachi. That's what he says.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if that's it, but I want verification on that. Joni Loves Chachi. Hey.
Phone Boy, check the phones.
Okay, the other topic, we drew a lot of email, our urinal etiquette.
That was big.
Yeah, big time. Guy writes in, John Hamill writes in, he had 2 problems with urinal etiquette just the other day. He was alone in a row of 4 urinals at work. A guy entered and just had to use the urinal next to his. He was at one. The guy came in and
next to him.
John was at urinal 1. The guy walks in and pulls up to urinal 2 right next to him. And the other said one time he says, "Man, I barely knew it was already in urinal number 4." I of course went to number 1, and then after a brief moment, he begins to have a full-fledged conversation with me about something that happened months ago across the 2 urinals. Do these men not understand the rules? Please tell me if there are ways to enforce or notify the non-believers of these rules.
Splash.
I think you need to post the rules in men's urinals all over the city.
Well, you know, It's funny because the people that complain, there are a couple people that complain that we have nothing better to do with our time, and those are the people that this weekend, they walked into the empty room, there were 6 there, or they walked in, there were 2 people using, and they thought about it. That guy's at 6. I should go to 1.
Absolutely. Now, another guy wrote in, and I think this guy hits the nail on the head. First of all, he says, I have had this discussion with my fiancée. She thinks the urinal rules are foolish. I told her that the rules extend way beyond the bathroom. In the movies, for instance, she has finally noticed that 2 guys always have what's called, well, it's a bad word, but they always have a seat between them that's empty. If 2 guys go to the movie, they always have the seat between them. And the reason for that is that if you sit next to another guy, it couples you.
Yeah,
now,
guys
if you
don't
go
want to
out,
get too close.
Right. Now, if you go out with more than another guy, if it's like 3 or 4 guys, then you can all sit together because then it's obviously a group outing or boys' night out. But if you're just with another guy, you have to have that seat in between you. He had to explain to his wife that 6 guys make up a group outing, whereas 2 guys could be looked at as a couple. Now, he goes on to say, the whole problem is that women aren't born knowing this stuff. Men are born with certain instinctive abilities, our bodily noise talents, our affinity for movies with hooters and explosions, and our knowledge of how to act in a bathroom. My fiancé has decided that all these unwritten, unspoken rules are silly, but I believe they work. If these rules are so silly, why do the lines move so much quicker in men's rooms?
So true.
If the chicks have it all figured out, then why do the lines move so slowly in their bathrooms? And to take this one step further, if chicks are so superior to dudes, then why are they always crying all the time?
What's this guy's
If the
name?
male way of life is so wrong, why are we the happy ones?
Sounds like a Dennis Miller rant.
It does. He didn't list his name. He didn't sign
That's
it.
good.
But
But
you
the
know,
movie
it's-
thing is legit, though, guys.
Yeah.
In a pair, you don't want
seat
to
between
rub
you.
up against.
No, there's no reason.
Right.
Because Dean Rowland and I will always go to movies at Phipps because he's got a lot of spare time sometimes during the day, and so do I, quite frankly. So we'll
You
go to the
do?
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll sit down. He'll sit right next to me. And I get up and I move his seat over, and then he goes to get popcorn. He comes back and he sits again right next to me. I'm like, Dean, and there's no one in the whole movie theater. Just
So
move
did you
over
say
one.
something to him?
Move
I always
over.
say something like, it doesn't feel right.
No, unless it's if it's a sold out movie and those are the only two seats, that's fine. But if it's an empty seater, you got to have that
you gotta
seat
move
between
over.
you. Okay.
We have verification on the
Gina?
Chachi.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you Korean?
Yes, I'm half Korean and half American.
Okay. And can
Define
you verify
Chachi?
Chachi means penis in Korean.
No wonder that was the biggest show.
So Joni loves Chachi.
We find this out years later.
very big.
Because
show.
the debut of the show, they're expecting something
Yeah.
big. They're hey, what a great
Hey.
show!
This is the best of the Morning X.
How about X as in excruciating to listen to? How about X and excuse yourself and exit off my show or I put my foot in your Xing behind?
99X.